Cassidy-Rae, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you both doing?
Oh, excellent for this time of the morning. We've been bopping around having a good night with our friends here. That sounds like a pretty good song.
It sounds like it should be a good song.
Now, Cassidy, I was listening to the start of it and I had a little conversation off air with Neil and saying, is that really country? It sounds a bit poppy. And then it got into a country type feel. How do you, or who decides which bin it goes in when you release a song into the world that's got about 57 different genres?
And by bin, he means sales bin, not rubbish bin.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Sales bin.
I totally understand. Look, for me, I was always country because I love the storytelling aspect of country and that genuine, raw, authentic sound that you get from country music. And that's the sort of sound that I'm creating and the stories that I'm telling. Now, how it falls into a little bit more pop is purely pop is popular music. So popular music can change. Originally growing up, it was Delta Goodrem on the piano. And then it turned into Ariana Grande with a lot of EDM. And then it turns into Calvin Harris, which is extremely EDM. So popular music is kind of like what is popular at the moment. It's a contemporary country sound, which is, it's got those elements of something that you would hear in popular music, but it's still that storytelling aspect. It's got those instruments that are just raw and real, that what you go to a live show, that's what you're going to hear.
We love the fact that you said growing up it was Delta Goodrem, Ariana Grande and Calvin Harris. Rob's still wondering what the hell EDM is, and the fact that we grew up listening to people like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. But that's okay. It's all good.
My dad grew up on like Michael Bublé. He would constantly listen to that coming home. He's a massive Beatles fan. I grew up listening to the Eagles.
Oh, that's okay. We're back in good territory now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The range is eclectic. I was just going with popular music. So, it's just what is popular at the time rather than electronic dance music, which is EDM.
Yeah, I knew that, but Rob is still looking puzzled.
No, I've got no idea. Hey, Cassie, talk to us about the early influences for you. You've mentioned a couple, but did you have a strong musical family, or was it friends at school, or maybe a school teacher mentor? What really got you going?
Honestly, it was my parents that said, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, which is a lie, a complete lie. I work very hard, but I love what I do. And, they wanted to open as many doors for me as possible growing up, and for me, it just always happened to be music. So it started from a young age when I was in the music industry, joining the school choir. I joined the Australian Girls Choir, which meant I got to perform for incredible people like Oprah Winfrey and Ellen DeGeneres and former President Barack Obama, even the Pope in Rome when I was 15 in the Vatican City. And then I ended up performing at local RSLs for a Young Achievers program when I was in school, and then I kind of just started performing by myself. So it was my parents that influenced me. They can sing in a shower and they can sing very loudly with the windows rolled down in a long car trip, but otherwise they're not really musical, nor was I by a mentor in a music teacher. It was more just I loved music and every facet of music, from performing it to writing it to understanding the business behind it, and it's led me to today.
I'm going to give you my kids' phone numbers after this conversation off air, if you wouldn't mind. And you can just explain to them the joy of letting your dad sing in the car while he's driving along, because it was pretty much banned in my car because they go, Dad. Maybe it's because I can't sing.
To pick us up from school, and she would pop a preventative Panadol and then turn up the volume, wind the windows down, and had a competition about who could sing louder. So 100%. Those are the memories I absolutely love. And,
of course, we don't condone the use of preventative Panadol here, just used with moderation. So when I was growing up in high school, country music was considered daggy, and I'm being kind because, there's two kinds of music we like, country and western, and, you didn't listen to country music. And so I would have thought if I had have had your skills and talents and confidence, I might have ended up playing in a rock band. What drove you to the country scene particularly, and was there any sort of peer pressure for you to go a bit Ariana Grande?
Oh my goodness. I was constantly, by my parents, encouraged to follow what makes me happy and ride my own wave and be authentic. And as long as I was enjoying myself, then they wanted me to keep on going. So growing up, being in the Australian Girls Choir, I was constantly, influenced by any artist from, singing with Celtic women. So I was listening to choral music to then, singing at Wallabies games, so I was listening to pop and rock music before the game started. There was never a peer pressure for me to go into something else because I was always just writing what I believed in. And when I first started writing music, I was 15 years old, and my best friend was 17, and unfortunately she passed away to type 1 diabetes, Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is where you go into a hyperglycemic reaction and you just don't wake up. And her parents were told the next morning that there are alarms in America that could actually wake up carers, so her death was not needed. It could have been prevented. And I found out on Facebook with the list of a feed being covered in RIPs. And, for me, when I first started songwriting, I didn't know how to explain those feelings or express those emotions, and I was drawn to the piano, and out came one of my very first songs that I released, Be Strong. So it was never really an active choice that I made to write and storytell and express. It was kind of just how it was that I was storytelling inadvertently. And I kind of kept going on from that. For me, at the start, music was very much an escape. And, then when it transformed and I got to travel around the world, residencies on Carnival cruise lines, music became an escape and an adventure. And, now that I have incredible fans around the world singing my songs along with me, the music is less personal in the sense of less about me trying to understand my feelings and more about getting to connect with these amazing fans, which is what Good Night is all about. It's about those shows and experiencing it with the fans. So it's always been a storytelling aspect to it.
The writing aspect, you said you were drawn to the piano. Is that your instrument of choice to write music, and have you had the education to know exactly where to put the crotchets on the line when you're writing music?
Good question. I definitely had my grades at piano. When I was 2, my brother started playing piano and I would sit next to him on the piano and I would bang the floor, and the teacher said, well, if she's going to bang the floor, she might as well bang the notes correctly. So I started learning piano from the age of 2, and I, got on all the way into university with music, and I was studying a Bachelor of Music and Arts Practice and Management. So I'm definitely educationally trained in music. And when COVID hit, I was meant to be sailing off to Hawaii, which was a very hard life, I know. And instead I was called up at midnight saying, I'm not getting on this cruise. I'm going to be jobless and homeless. And I called up my family and, they welcomed me with open arms. And I went, well, what am I going to do for the next little while that I'm here? And found my guitar and decided to teach myself. So I would go live and connect through the disconnects with all of my fans from around the world, and I would show them what chord I'd learnt that week and struggled through playing the guitar. So piano is my main instrument, but I'm learning the guitar just as well. I've also got the ukulele and the kazoo.
Rob's very good on the kazoo.
I kazoo.
So one of the other things that we sort of fluctuate on this segment between people that are really, really well-known people in the music industry, that have been around for 50 years, and then we like to talk to what we'll describe as a more contemporary, up and coming kind of artists. And one of the things that we're hearing from the people who aren't the Russell Morrises and the Brian Cadds of the world is it's really tough to find gigs these days because live venues are closing. How do you go getting those?
Oh my goodness, I am breezing through it. I think it depends on the goal and the object of what you're doing. At the moment, I'm actually booking a tour, and I'm calling it the Good Night Tour because I want to have a good night with every single person. And
we know a song that you could use.
Pardon?
There's a song we know called Good Night. It's by an artist from sort of Sydney, Queensland, depending upon where she is at the time. Her name's Cassidy-Rae. Look it up. You might be able to use it as one of your opening songs.
Definitely. But I'm having a good night tour at the moment. So I started on cruise ships at university. It was a friend of a friend was interested in an event on Facebook, and it happened to be working with Carnival Entertainment, and I was flying out in the next 6 months over to Florida, and I'd gotten to travel to Nashville and Louisiana and New York and Virginia and all the way around America performing. I was just in Seattle and Hawaii last year, and so many gigs are available. And now with this tour, I actually had booking agents at my show on their vacation coming to my show going, we need to have you at our venue. Please come put a tour there. So I'm quite the opposite. I'm finding it very easy. I'm manifesting it and full of abundance my way.
Sounds good because in Melbourne, for example, up the road from where we are, every day there seems to be a live venue closing, and in Geelong there seems to be the same situation happening. So it's a bit tough. The music scene, I guess part of it too is get a name, people know who you are, then it means that people will know then to come along, and it's that sort of chicken and egg thing, isn't it, a bit?
It is. I think it depends on what, there's halls. I mean, there's Fanny Lunsden doing a country halls tour at the moment. And so she's bringing the live music to the fans. And you're right, it's very much a chicken and egg. You go out and tour, but you need the fans to go do that. And I've kind of built up the fans now with their demanding I come and put on a tour there, so I can go to my team and be like, we need to go to Brisbane and Sydney and put on a show. So.
Sounds good. Well, you will need to, of course, let us know when you're heading down to G-Town here in Geelong, because we'd love to come along and meet you and hear you. Any plans to head this way?
No.
I've lost you. Are you still there? Over?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. And any plans to come down to Victoria?
100%. I've got a couple of dates down in Melbourne this year, so I'll have to let you know, and tickets will be available soon. I'm very excited.
Excellent. Well, of course, the website that you will find Cassidy-Rae's stuff is, funnily enough, Cassidy-Rae, because there's a hyphen in the middle of her name, Cassidy-Rae.com, and she's on all the socials as well. So please go and find her site and check out some of her music, because it's all up and about kind of music, would be my observation.
Very positive, very good vibes, and people want to have a good night and just keep singing one more song.
Excellent. Well, Cassidy-Rae, thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to talk to, I think, someone that you know very shortly. Caitlin Thomas is another up-and-coming singer. We're going to chat to her after we've had a short break. But thanks for being with us this morning, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you for having me on. Cheers. Chat, guys.
There she is, Cassidy-Rae. As I said, look her up on the internet and have a look at her music. It is pretty up and about. And is it pop? Is it country? I think it's Cassidy-Rae. I think that's the way it works out.